Welcome to Mental Health and Faith, A Closer Look. I am Carolyn Cooper. This podcast and YouTube show addresses issues related to mental health and wellness, recovery, our spiritual journey, and what the Bible teaches about living in this complicated world. I also welcome pastors, writers, mental health professionals, and others to come on my show to share how God has navigated them through some challenges in life and how He has given them the power to overcome. Thank you for being here today. Now sit back and enjoy the show. I am Carolyn, and today I am coming to you from my mother's house. She is a little under the weather, and so I came up here to just be here with her for a few days. But you know, when someone gets sick, or when someone gets hurt, or when we find ourselves distracted by the events of life, it is still, and probably even more important, to take care of ourselves. And I know that from experience. And even just recently, in the past couple of days, my anxiety has gone up a little bit. But thankfully, I know what tools I need to use to try to stay in a calm state. So if you have not listened to the previous episodes on our spiritual reset and our mental and emotional health reset, I really encourage you to do that. That's episodes 70 and 71, and I'm going to be listening to those again myself. But today, we're going to talk about our physical reset. Now, why is it important to take care of our bodies? I think most people realize nowadays that our physical health is just as important as our spiritual health, our mental health, our relational health, because it all works together, doesn't it? I'm just going to give you 3 quick points in scriptures today about why physical health is so important. So let's get started. Taking care of my physical body is my greatest challenge. I tend to be a thinker. I'm driven by my emotions. I work on my relationships. And I love spending lots of time with the Lord in my spiritual disciplines. But taking care of this physical body is a challenge for me because I don't think of it as a priority like the other areas of my life. And I've discovered that needs to change. Remember, we are one being. Mind, body, spirit. We are one being. And when one part of us is not healthy, that impacts the rest of us. So I have already started doing this physical reset, and I want to encourage you, if anything I am sharing with you sounds familiar, maybe it's time to consider a physical reset for your life too. I want to share an important resource that I have found because, as I said, this is my weakest area to work on. I just honestly would rather be in my chair typing, writing, studying, doing things like that. Getting up and moving is something I have to make myself do. But the points I will be sharing today are going to encourage you to start changing your mindset in a direction that makes it easier to have physical activity in your life. But this resource I found has been essential in me developing that mindset. It's Revelation Wellness. It is a Christ-centered nonprofit that helps you to be mindful of your physical health as well as your spiritual and mental and emotional health. That's all I'm going to say about it for now, but I will have a link to Revelation Wellness in the show notes. Now let's move on. The first point, and I think the most important point to remember when we're thinking about our physical body, is that our physical health is connected to our spiritual, mental, and emotional health. And that's not just me saying it. God has made that clear as well. In His Word, we have wonderful passages that remind us of how important it is to be mindful of, in this case, our spiritual self, because of how it impacts our physical self. The next point I want to make is this. God created our bodies, and we are to be good stewards of all He created. It's not uncommon to hear references to taking care of God's creation. This earth, our natural resources, the animals. We understand that God gave us, humans, the responsibility of overseeing His creation. But God created us as well. Genesis 1:27 says, God created man in His own image. In the image of God, He created him. Male and female, He created them. We are the crowning jewel of God's creation. So shouldn't we be taking care of ourselves as well? It is important to care for our bodies in honor of God, to bless God for giving us the gift of life. The next verse we'll look at is Colossians 15:44-46. Paul says, when talking about us, as humans, Paul says, it is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. If there is a natural body, there is also a spiritual body. So also it is written, the first man, Adam, became a living soul. The last Adam, referring to Jesus, became a life-giving spirit. However, the spiritual is not first, but the natural, then the spiritual. We are created as a physical being. Our bodies are essential for being the housing of our spiritual selves. The next point I want to make is that in Scripture, illustrations of physical endurance are used to describe perseverance, which implies that the readers of these passages would recognize the importance of that physical health, the physical endurance that they needed. They did not have cars. They were not couch potatoes in front of TVs. They were up and active. They needed physical endurance for everyday life. And when that physical endurance is referenced in Scripture, they knew exactly what it was talking about. So it was a very important type of illustration to use when talking about this spiritual endurance or perseverance that they would also need for their spiritual lives. In 1 Corinthians 9:24-27, Paul says this, do you not know that those who run in a race all run, but only one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may win. Everyone who competes in the games exercises self-control in all things. They then do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable. Therefore I run in such a way as not without aim. I box in such a way as not beating the air, but I discipline my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified. Paul is referencing the games, physical activity, training, and preparing for this game, this race. Paul is making it clear that our physical condition is essential for facing this life. The author of Hebrews also makes this point. In Hebrews 12:1, he says, Therefore, since we have so great a cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us also lay aside every encumbrance and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. We are in a race. Are we going to jog? Are we going to walk while everyone zips past us? No, we are going to run. We need to train, prepare, take care of ourselves so that in this race, we are not just walking along, watching everyone pass us by. We are running. We are running to win the race. Our physical bodies impact every other part of our lives. Our eating choices, our exercising, just taking cleanliness, taking care of this body is a reflection. And this is the mindset I've had to adopt. Taking care of my physical self is a way to bring glory to the Lord. These 3 points, I hope, have given you a little bit of insight on why it is important to have a physical reset. I'm trying to do that in my life. I have not been completely consistent, but I'm trying, because our bodies are an essential part of who we are. To recap, first, our physical health is connected to our spiritual, mental, and emotional health. Second, God created our bodies, and we are to be good stewards of all He created. Third, illustrations of physical endurance are used to describe perseverance, which implies the readers of Scripture knew how important it was to keep their bodies in shape. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please subscribe and leave your comments, questions, and even suggestions. I would love to hear from you. Join the conversation on mental health and faith. Have a blessed day.